From being another JRPG to a Game of the Year nominee at the Game Awards and PC Gamer's Game of the Year for 2022, Persona 5 has taken the series to new heights that I never thought the series would reach thanks to passionate fans such as yourself. Even the realest fans among us that don't even play the game have done their part. I was always of the belief that Persona 5 Royal is easily the best game in the entire series, and while Persona 3 FES is my absolute favorite, I will never turn a blind eye to something that is clearly better, unlike Persona 4 fans. So what is it that makes Persona 5 Royal the superior game? I found 5 things that make Persona 5 stand tall above the other games, and in my opinion, they're not even close. But enough chit chat, it's time to get down to business. Number 1, the introduction. Oh my god. Persona 5 easily clears when it comes to the game introduction. Previous Personas were okay, but 5 throws you right into the action. You have no clue what's going on as you're thrown into some big heist trying to escape armed forces. Things end up going south and you're captured and even told that you've been sold out. I don't know about you guys, but that was burning in my mind. I had the drive to continue because I had to find out which one of my friends betrayed me. That is until they were introduced and it became blatantly obvious, which ruined the mystery, unless it's your first Persona game. Then it's fine. You're then framed for some heinous crimes that you probably didn't commit but are forced to confess to, beaten like a government mule, and even injected with, what in the God's name is that? Are we in Arkham Asylum? They even limit the amount of time that a prosecutor is allowed to speak to you. Like, what the heck is going on here? You then find out you're a criminal because you decided to try and protect a woman from a drunk old man that fell and hurt himself. Come on, give me a break. Alright, now I'm asking questions. Who in the world betrayed me? When will I get my revenge on that old man? Why is Sojiro so mean to me? Are there other games like Persona 5? Your criminal history is even exposed at school, and you can imagine how this goes over with the students and staff. So now you have those unanswered questions on top of the desire to prove that you're not actually a bad guy. It's such an amazing start that other Persona games don't even come close to matching, and the momentum continues up until the end of the first arc. First impressions really matter to a lot of people out there. Speaking of first impressions, if you're still here, you must like this, so pass me that like and subscribe so I can keep giving you Persona content. And if you think I'm wrong about anything I'm saying, join my Discord server and we can have a civil discussion about it, because right now I'm in war mode. Link in description, back to business. The activities outside of the dungeons. In previous Personas, you couldn't really call outside activities enjoyable since all you did was read what happened when participating in an activity in most instances. Persona 4 improved on this a little bit with the fishing and bug catching. Persona 5 really stepped it up by adding activities that you can actually participate in, like darts, billiards, video games, more involved fishing, crossword puzzles, batting cages. You can even get a job that gives you the opportunity to meet new confidants and even progress in side quests. What other Persona is letting you do this? I hope when Persona 6 comes out, Atlus doubles down on this. Make more of these activities more fun mini games that we can play that will progress our confidants and social stats. Maybe add them to some social link progression events. One I would absolutely love is if you could actually invite friends over and you could actually play the video games with them, or possibly even invite them to an arcade and play games with them, that way with a boosted reward for beating them. That would be so mind-blowing. The social links or confidants, whatever you prefer to call them, have stepped up big time in this game, not just in how they work, but the experience with the characters as well. While the perks you get for hanging out with some of these people are game breaking and make certain mechanics pointless, it's definitely a step in the right direction for the series. I also believe that the confidant stories are much better than in previous games. Make no mistake, the Sun Arcana in Persona 3 will always be unmatched, but Persona 5 has a lot of very interesting social links which the previous games lacked, especially Persona 4. I feel like a lot of that game's characters had surface level issues that I could care less about, and on top of that, the Beef Bowl girl was not a potential social link. What the heck, Atlus? Most of Persona 5's characters have backstories that I can actually get invested in. My only other gripe when it comes to Persona 5's confidant is that whenever it's discovered that someone else is causing a person's problems, Joker goes in mementos to force a change of heart in a person instead of taking a more direct human approach like in other games, but the stories themselves make up for it. Tying game mechanics to the confidants was another genius move by Atlus in my opinion. Making skill cards, goofing off in class, growing plants, being able to purchase and customize firearms. The game really shows you that it pays to have friends, and that's been a very important message since 3. If there's one thing I love, it's when story elements are actually incorporated into the game's mechanics. While high social link levels boosted EXP gained through fusion in previous games, I don't think that was enough to inspire most people people to rank them up. People were just gonna rank up their favorites. Now there's more incentive to give someone else a shot. Let's talk about the villains now. We're about to jump into spoiler territory regarding the first arc, so if you don't want to be spoiled, go to the next chapter now. Persona 5 Royal has some of the most exciting villains in the series. Villains that just make you go, oh, I just have to kick this guy's butt now. Kamoshida is considered by many to be one of, if not the best villain in the series. And while I don't agree, it's too easy to see why he's held in that regard. He seems cool when you first meet him, but once you leave his dungeon, you start to scratch your head wondering if he's really as cool as he seemed. After that, you get a front row seat to see how his selfish actions affected the people around you. The only reason the school knows about your criminal past is because he made a student leak it. You find out he broke Ryuji's leg in self-defense. He tries to pressure Anta Kamiki into sleeping with him by threatening her best friend Shiho. You even discover later that he's beating his students, not in volleyball, but literally beating them. You even overhear your fellow students talking about how they may be hearing screaming by my god, how bad can this dude be? And that's not even the worst part. Once he gets fed up with An denying him, he beats the brakes off of Shiho, and just when you think it can't get any worse, the piece of garbage her, which drives her to attempt to take her own life. I can't believe this, man. The game just started. This is too much. Why hasn't something been done about this guy? Oh, it's because he's a former Olympic gold medalist that is coaching a successful sports team, so the sad sack of a principal just looks the other way even though he's well aware of what is going on behind the scenes. He deserved to kick the bucket. Even the parents ignore the wrong that's being done to their children because of this man's reputation. If you don't want to kick this guy's butt now, I don't know what to tell you. Having him as the first villain was an amazing move on Atlus's part because it makes the first arc so exciting. Again, first impressions. A few of the villains fail to capture those same levels of excitement because you don't get to see how their actions directly affect people around you like Kamoshida was able to. But they're still exciting nonetheless. The way they're presented in the game always reminds you that you have something to strive towards, which makes the endeavor much more exciting than progressing the story in the other games in my opinion. The game makes me feel like a superhero that's taking down the bad guys. Before I get into the last thing Persona 5 Royal does better than all of the other games, I'd like to give some honorable mentions really quick. The game has a sprint button. That's it. The other games don't have one. And the last thing that Persona 5 does better than every other game in the series, the dungeons, the dungeons, the dungeons. And it's not even close. I dare one of y'all to tell me the TV world in Persona 4 is fun. I will put you in a straitjacket and have you sent to a psych ward. You will never convince me that constantly backtracking, potentially being sent back to the entrance, taking all of my items away, not letting me earn money, having invisible enemies, or having my SP halved even after a battle with Victory Cry is fun. And don't think I forgot about Tartarus. While nowhere near as silly as 4, the difficulty spikes and the repetitive rooms don't do it any favors. While Mementos does exist, Persona 5 also has its own separate dungeons called palaces that are tied to the story that provide a more Legend of Zelda-like experience. Lots of room to run around and obstacles to maneuver around, puzzles to solve, and mini bosses to beat up. On top of that, you're thieves. There's a security level in the palace that goes up whenever you're seen. Stealth is key, rewarding you for being stealthy with your attacks by keeping the security level down. All of these things make playing this part of the game so much more enjoyable than its predecessors. And at the end of the day, that's what makes Persona 5 easily the best game in the series. It's just way more fun to play than every other game in the series. It comes out of the gate swinging and keeps you invested enough to experience all of the fun new things that the game has to offer. And once you've reached that point, you're hooked on the gameplay loop. Unlike in previous games where I was indifferent to dungeon crawling, or in Persona 4's case, absolutely dreading the days and wishing I was playing something else instead. You can have the best story ever told in a game, but if the game isn't fun to play, then I won't give it the time of day. I paid to play the game, and I wish JRPG fans would stop giving games passes for having frustrating gameplay just because the story is good, especially since RPGs, in my opinion, usually have the strongest gameplay in any genre of game. Anyway, that concludes this video. If you made it to the end, there's no doubt that you like this now, so make sure you like and subscribe so I can keep making this content for you. Later, losers.